Hey guys, Keith Brown, Tack Room Devotional. It's Monday. We're ready to start a new series. This week I want to talk to you about fasting. Yeah, I know you're ready to shut this off already. No, I think you need to listen to me because fasting is very, very important in your Christian walk. As a matter of fact, of all the spiritual disciplines that's taught in the Bible, fasting is probably the most neglected. Look with me at Matthew chapter 9 and verse 14, starting with verse 14. It says, "Then the disciples of John came to him, Jesus, saying, 'Why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples do not fast?' And Jesus said to them, 'Can the friends of the bridegroom mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom will be taken away from them, and then they will fast.'" So here he's saying, there's coming a time when even my disciples will fast. Look with me in Matthew chapter 6. And this is the Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes. And notice with me in verse 3, it says, "But when you do a charitable deed," or when you give. Doesn't say if you give, it says, "and when you give." And then in verse 5 it says, "and when you pray." It doesn't say if you pray, it says when you pray. In other words, this discipline of giving and praying is expected by Jesus. He expects people to give and to pray. In verse 6 you see, "and when you pray." In verse 7 you see, "and when you pray." But now look with me in verse 16. "Moreover, when you fast." So this is not, Jesus is not saying if you fast, he's saying when you fast. In other words, he expects his followers, his disciples, to fast. So fasting is a discipline that you and I need to practice. So we need to know about it. Well, what is it? Well, it's a type of self-discipline. It's a type of self-control. Okay, so for instance, we as Christians want to have control over our anger or over our temper. And so that's one thing that we practice. We practice our tongue. You know, we want to control our tongue, not let our tongue control us. Well, then when we look at fasting, it's controlling what we eat. Okay, so simply put, fasting is just abstaining from food. But there's a little bit more to it than that. It's harnessing the power of something that God has made available to us as Christians. It's kind of like a waterfall going over the mountain. You know, it's beautiful, absolutely, but there's no benefit until we harness that power and turn it into electricity, and then people get to receive the benefits from all that power. Well, there's power that comes with fasting also. So another way to look at fasting is, fasting means being so consumed with a matter that it becomes more important than food. So in other words, let's say you have a child who's out there doing some crazy things and maybe getting into drugs and hanging with the wrong person. All of a sudden you're consumed with that because you're afraid that your child's going to, you know, get themselves in a position that's going to destroy their lives. You don't even worry about food at that point. All you're thinking about is your child. Well, that's a great time to begin to fast. I know for a fact, I was raised in a Christian home, but as we got out of high school and into college and stuff, my older brother and I, it seemed like we got away from God, but the whole family got away from God at the same time. Well, then later on, I got married and then found out my wife was pregnant, and we were concerned about raising our children in a Christian home like we were raised in. So we rededicated our lives to Christ. I got involved with the praise and worship team and so forth. But then I was concerned about my family. What about my brother and my brothers and my mom and dad? And so I began to fast every Wednesday, and there was power in that fast. As a matter of fact, my older brother I thought would never come back to the Lord, and yet through fasting he was the first one to come back. So there's a power that's available to us as Christians that comes with fasting. And remember, it's not when you fast, it's or if you fast, it's when you fast. Jesus expects us to fast. Okay, so we're going to pick this up again tomorrow. Remember, Jesus loves you. I love you. I pray that God would richly bless you as you diligently seek him and serve him.